It's Saturday night and we're going to do some nice relaxing modeling. I'm going to create a submarine hatch. Alright, so it should be relatively easy to do this. And I'm going to press Shift A. You can see my screencast keys on there. Come over to Circle. And I'm going to go for 24 vertices. I will be using a subdivision surface, and we're looking at probably around 12 or 13,000 vertices, I believe. All right, let's go into edit mode by pressing tab. Press 1 to look from the front. Actually, no, let's look from the top. 7. E and S, scale it in a little bit like that. Then look from the front. Press E to extrude. Pull it up a little bit like that. All right, I'm using my middle mouse button to just move around. I'm going to press Alt-A to deselect, and I'm going to press Shift and Alt. Nah, I didn't. Alt, what did I press to get that? Yeah, Shift and Alt. There, Shift and Alt down there. And click on there. Sometimes I forget, I just do it automatically. Looking from the front again, I'm going to press E to extrude, left click, and pull down. And get a little bit of a lip like that. All right, Shift Alt and click there again. And we're going to press E to extrude, pull it up a little ways, and then S to scale. Pull it in like that. Okay, I'm going to use this area to do some holes after. All right, so that's fine. I'm just going to pull it down just a little bit. All right, I'm going to press E to extrude again, pull up, maybe about half the distance of this, and then I'm going to press F to make a face. Okay, now I'm going to press 2 for edge selection. That one's already selected. I'm going to Shift and Alt and click there, Shift Alt and click there, Shift Alt and click there, Shift Alt and click there. Those are all the regions I want to bevel. I'm going to press Control B, pull. I'm holding Shift at the same time so I move slower. I have 2 edges going around now. I'm going to roll my mouse up so there's 3. And that's what we want. Back into object mode, right click to shade smooth. Control 1 adds 1 subdivision here, like you're coming to the modifiers. However, that may be flipped and red. So go into edit mode, select it all, Alt N, recalculate outside. It's blue again, so the normals are facing the right way. Okay, the next thing I want to do is go into edit mode again. And this top part, I'm going to go Control R to add an edge loop. Roll my mouse up 1, so there's 2. Left click and right click to finish that. I'm going to press Control B and pull. And I'm going to roll back so I have 2 edges like that. And I'm just pulling to make them as wide as I want, something like that. Then I'm going to press E, left click, Alt S, and push. That'll push them out. Let's see if that's good enough. That's good enough for what we want. Let's come over here and turn on the cavity shader. Make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so we're going to do some holes going around here. So I'm going to press 7 to look from the top. And select my object, go into edit mode, Alt-A to deselect, and this area is where I want holes. So I'm going to press Control R, click, just drag it out just a little bit, so it's kind of in the middle there, like that. And then I'm going to press Control B to bevel and pull, and there's 2 edges going all the way around. I want it nice and big. I'm going to roll my mouse up so I have 3. Actually, a little bit like that. All right, what I'm really looking for are these 4 quads here and at various spots along. So Alt-A to deselect, press 3 for face selection or click there, and C for paint select. And now you can see a circle. You can roll your mouse up and down to make it smaller or bigger. Make it a bit smaller. I'm going to click right in there, and that selects all 4 of those. I'm going to skip 2 columns and click right in the middle there. So I've got the 4 again, and I've skipped 2. I'm going to keep doing that. There. There, yeah, skip 2, and there. So I've got 2 columns in between each of these 4 spots. Press Escape, that'll drop that tool. I'm rolling in to zoom in a little bit, and I press I for inset, hold Shift, and pull in a little bit like this to get it away from the walls, just like that, and it's done it for all of them. Right click, and I'm going to choose Loop Tools, Circle. So we have what will be a circle anyhow, but it's overlapping these edges. I want it inside this edge and this edge. So I'm going to switch over to individual origins, just minimize that, and I'll scroll out a bit so we can see this. I'm going to press S to scale and start pulling my mouse in, and you can see they're all getting smaller, and I want them inside those 2 edges. I can stop there even though this one's overlapping because I'm going to move the circles out a little bit more closer to this edge. So it's kind of in between this one and this one. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to switch back to median point. That's the default. Then I'm going to press S again, hold shift, pull, and it's kind of pulling them out. Just pull it till it's inside. I might make them a bit smaller, go back to individual origins, S to scale, just a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's go back to median point. I'm going to press I to inset, hold shift, pull in a little bit so you now have like 2 circles there. With that done, I'm just turning it. I'm going to extrude inwards. I'm going to press E and just gesture downwards. I can hold shift if I want to go slower. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. There and E again. And that'll give me a nice sort of solid wall there. And I'm just looking to see if it's pinching, and it's not too bad. I think we're probably okay. I think that'll look all right. All right. So with that done, I'm going to go back into edit mode, Alt-A to deselect, press 1 for vertex selection, or just click there. And I'm going to select this point right in the top circle there, right along the y-axis there. I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there by pressing Shift-S, cursor to selected, and go back into object mode. Now I'm going to bring in something there. Shift-A, mesh circle, but this time I want this to be 6 vertices, like that. Go into edit mode, S to scale, and then press F to make a face, and then we'll just move it up and keep shrinking it down by pressing S, and we'll get the size we want in just a moment. Let's press E and gesture down or pull down, X faces, get rid of that bottom face, and then select it all but switch to 2, edge selection, and we can just bevel right at that point. Control B, hold shift and pull, and you can either go with 2 or 3 edges. I'll do 3, it'll be a little bit more high poly. Let's take that and let's push it down a little bit, and then press 3 to look from the side, and I'm going to rotate this until it's parallel with this. Now I can switch over to normal, and now my Z-axis can go like this, and I can sort of pull it in. That looks pretty good actually. Press the period key to focus. It's just, I think it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. I can pull it in and just double check that it looks like it's in a good position. And if it's still not, let's see, I didn't shade smooth, I did. You can go up to 2 subdivisions if you want, but it's more high poly, and I really don't think I'm going to bother with that. All right, let's double check that that is facing the right way. You see, it's not. So go into it, Alt-N, recalculate outside, and let's switch back to global and get rid of that blue stuff there. So this is what we have. We have 1 bolt in there. And you know what? I might make it a little bit smaller. All right, good enough. Okay, so I want those in all of the circles. How am I going to do that? There's a really easy way. Select your object, press 3 for face selection, and select this central circle. Shift-S, cursor selected. Bring the 3D cursor right there. Now select this bolt and switch over to 3D cursor. That means the pivot is right there. So if I rotate, it rotates around that pivot. Go into edit mode though, select it all, okay? A to select it all with the pivot right there. Scroll down this using your scroll wheel until you get to this thing. Looks like a piece of pie is missing. The spin tool. And then choose either the X, Y, or Z. In this case, it's going to be the Z or Z axis because we get this blue thing that sort of goes around. I'm just going to pull on one of these pluses, pull like this and let go, and the menu has opened up. And I'm going to choose however many holes I've got. I've got 6, so I'm going to choose 6 holes. I'm going to choose use duplicates, and the angle is going to be all around a circle, so 360. And now they're in the right spots. But we need to A to select them all, and M merge by distance, and we will get rid of a bunch of extra vertices. Come back up, choose that again, and we're done with those bolts. Okay, good. We need some bolts around this part of the hatch, so I'm going to come in here and use the circle we already have, which is this one. So I'm in face selection, I selected that, Shift-D to duplicate, S to scale. Just start making it smaller. I might go for a similar size to this or a bit bigger. I'm going to pull it roughly up to the top, and I'll be spinning this around. But let's separate it out from this object by pressing P, separate by selection. So back in object mode, this is a separate object. Go into edit mode, and let's go back to median point, by the way, for now. Pull this up a little ways, E to extrude, pull it down, X faces. We don't need a subdivision on this really, so I'm going to get rid of that, and then just in 3 face selection, I just press 3, select the top face and Control B, pull and bevel with 3 edges going around. So this one's going around, this one, and this one. Take the whole thing, push it down a little bit, but we can just Alt and recalculate outside in case it was flipped. All right, so we have that. Now we have 6 holes, but I think I'm going to do 8 bolts. My 3D cursor is still right in the middle, so I could switch right back to 3D cursor. Go into edit mode, and again, it'll rotate around that position. Come over here to the spin tool. It should still be in the Z. Pull it a little bit. Choose 8 this time. Use duplicates and change this to 360 degrees. So that looks okay. We can take that, A to select it all, M, merge by distance. We got to do that again. And I can come back up here and do that. That drops the spin tool. I think they might actually be a little bit big. I don't know. So I'm going to switch over to individual origins and S to scale. And that'll scale them all. And just make sure that they're embedded, which they are. So, okay. Is anybody flipped the wrong way? Let's just check it here. No, everybody's good. Okay, cool. 7 to look from the top again. Let's do something else. With the 3D cursor there. And let's go back to median point. Let's press Shift A, Mesh Plane, go into Edit Mode, and S to scale. Scale it down relatively small, and SX to scale it only in the X. We're making like a little label that would be on there. Press 1 for vertex selection, zoom in a bit, and now I want to bevel those vertices, so it's Shift Control B, not just Control B. Shift Control B. Hold Shift to move slower, pull, and just get a little curve with 3 vertices. That's fine like that. A to select it all, let's move it up. So just pull it up a little bit. E to extrude, pull it down in the Z. X faces, get rid of that bottom face. 3 for face selection and select that top face. And bevel, Control B with 3. Just like that, okay? Alt N, recalculate outside just to make sure it's facing the right way. Push it in, and that is that. All right, cool. So now we need a little handle that we can pull to open our hatch. And an easy way to make that is to come into edit mode of this piece, 2 for edge selection, or click there. Select this top edge, it's nice and straight. Shift D to duplicate, pull it out. It's just that piece. But let's break it out. Piece separate by selection. So we have that. I'm going to look from the top. I'm going to go into edit mode. Actually, let's go back to median point. And I'm going to pull it back to there, somewhere maybe around the beginning of this bolt, let's say. Doesn't really matter. You can adjust the position later. S to scale, and I'm pulling it up almost as if, like, imagine there's a thing that goes here and then there, kind of into the middle of this. Now I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to pull out to around in between these, S to scale, and I'm basically doing what I just said. I'm pulling it to around the middle point. All right, so that's good so far. Let's select it all though, bring it up, and then select this edge and E to extrude and push it in. And we'll see if that's tall enough. So this edge is still selected there. Hold Shift and select this edge and go X, delete edges. And that will leave just this. All right, we'll make it look better in just a second. Press 1 for vertex selection and just select these 4 vertices. We're going to bevel those. So again, it's Shift Control B, hold Shift and pull. Separate it really far to get a real swooping curve or sweeping curve. And I'm going to roll my mouse up. There's 4 vertices, 5 in each curve. I just like it like that. It's nice and smooth. Okay, so we can position this in a bit if we want to. Let's convert this to a curve. Right click, convert to curve. Come over to the curve menu here, scroll down to geometry, to bevel depth. Hold Shift as you click on this and pull to the right. And just get a thickness that works for you. I'm going to go with about that. I think that looks okay. And then go into edit mode here, and let's choose this vertex and this one, because this is a straight piece right there, and I'm going to use that, and I'm going to hold Shift and select those 2 as well. So I want these straight pieces of this curve. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, and then P to break them out. Whoops. And I've got, if I select just that, here it is, I've got those pieces. They're still curved, so I can come over here and I'm going to hold Shift, pull to the right to make them a little bit wider. Not too much, just a little bit, because we're going to make where the handle attaches to the hatch. All right, with that done, I can come in here. If I feel that these are sinking too deep into it, I can always bring that up, as long as it doesn't go past, the surface. Bring it to there, that's fine, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so in object mode of those, we're going to scroll to the top of the curve menu, and where it says resolution, I'm going to change 12 to 3, so that when we right click and convert to mesh, the resolution wasn't 12. It wasn't crazy. We don't want that much geometry. Just 3 was fine. Into edit mode, 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click there, Shift Alt and click there, F to make a face. It does it on both of them. And now we can bevel. Control B, pull, and I only want 2, 3 edges. There, that part's done. Now I'm going to do the same on this piece. I'm going to convert that to a mesh, change the resolution to 3, right click, convert to mesh. It's done. I can take that and shift on those and Control J to join them. I'm going to right click and shade smooth. There's our handle. We can do a little bit more. Before we do that, let's just look at this. Like I said, you can slide it down. I might slide it so that it's kind of in the middle of this bulb. I think that looks good. And it's kind of in the middle of those. Let's do one more thing on here. Press 3 for face selection, or click there. Shift Alt and click one of these edges and you'll select all of the polys going around. If I press Control plus, you can see that my selection went out further that way to the next edge, really. Control plus, Control plus, Control plus. If you go too far, by the way, Control plus, you can go Control minus and it'll bring it back. Now I'm thinking about doing something with that region there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press E and left click, Alt S, hold Shift and push. And just expand it like the handle of a suitcase or something. All right, deselect, press 2 for edge selection and press Shift and Alt and click those edges. Same thing on this one, those edges. With all those selected, I'm going to bevel. It's always the same things. Control B, pull with 3, and there we go. There's a kind of a cool handle. Double check everything's facing the right way. All right, a little bit more to go, and we are done. The 3D cursor is still right in the middle, so that's fine. I'm going to press Shift A, mesh cylinder now, and I'm going to switch this to just 18 vertices. I won't need very much. Go into edit mode, and with it selected, press S to scale it down, pull it out. We'll get the size we want in a minute. Let's rotate this RX 90, scale in the Y, SY, just pull it out something like that. Now I'm going to press 1 to look from here, and I'm going to press G and just pull it down. I'm going to make some parts of the hinge, and I want them to be sort of smaller than the distance from here to here. So I'm going to make the cylinder just a little bit smaller. We can lengthen it if we need to, we'll see. 3 for face selection and select that face, hold Shift and select that, and Control B. And we're beveling once again, just like that. Shade smooth. Okay, so that should be okay. Yeah, okay, good. So to make the rest of the hinge, I'm going to go into edit mode of this, 2 for edge selection, and Shift Alt and click that circle. I'm going to use that circle because it's already in the right orientation. Shift D to duplicate, pull it down, S to scale it a bit just to get it away, P, separate by selection. So that's its separate object. 1 to look from the front and press 1 to see the vertices. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press B to box select, grab these vertices, leaving the top one and the bottom one and all the rest, X vertices. So you got like half a circle essentially. Let's select this one and this one, E to extrude, I'm going to pull out, and then S to scale, I'm going to pull them down so they sort of angle in like that. Select the whole thing and press F to make a face. And I'm just going to move it over here for the moment. And I'm going to press E to extrude and extrude in the Y, something like this. Okay? And that's okay like that. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to mirror this. The 3D cursor is really in the middle, you know, and if you kind of imagine a line down here, it's in the middle. So I can just use that. So I'm just going to go ahead and mirror, but in the Y. So I've got those, and I want to press the slash key and come in, and I'm going to select. I think I'm going to scale them in the Z a little bit more. SZ, just to make them a little bit more tapered. X faces to get rid of that, because those will be covered. Select this face and this face by holding Shift to select both of them. And then we're going to bevel. Control B, pull, and I want just 3. Back into object mode, right click, shade smooth, slash key, and you can see those go in, and we got rid of that face. So that looks okay, I think. What I'm going to do now is go into edit mode, look from the top. I may make them a bit narrower, SY. That'll narrow this one, and it'll also narrow the other one because it's mirrored. The reason I did that, in fact, I'm going to move them a bit. Oops, because I need some room here. So I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, pull it down to here, and P to break it out. So I have one that's embedded, and this one I just created, and it's mirrored. And I want to rotate this, and I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to select this face. Just something that's central. I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there, and then select this object, switch to 3D cursor, and I like to do this in edit mode, so I'm going to edit mode. And now I can just press R, as long as I'm looking in an orthographic view from the front, R, and I'm just going to pull it down. Doesn't have to be straight up and down, just like that. And I will have done it for both of them. In fact, I may not want to do it that much. I might do it like that. So I see a little bit of that. Okay, couple final design things. Let's come in here and Control R to drop an edge loop. Let's go back to median point. Control B and pull. Roll back so you have just 2 edges going around. Scroll out to around there. E, Alt S, and pull to make it narrower, like that. And then press 2 for edge selection, and Shift Alt to click this edge and this one. This edge and this one. Control B, once again we are beveling. I think I only have 2 there, so I'm going to roll my mouse up to get 3. We have that effect. All right, and I may do something on the end as well. I'm going to select that face and that face. I'm going to press I to inset, hold Shift, it'll pull in a little bit. I'm going to press E and SY and pull in, like that. I to inset again, hold Shift, E and SY, and this time I'm pulling out. And you can pull out farther if you want. Let's see what that looks like. And then let's bevel that. Control B, nice big bevel. And finally, in edge selection, Shift Alt to click this sharp edge. And over here on this side, this sharp edge, Control B to bevel, and pull, and see. And that's what we come up with. All right, let's double check that this stuff is flipped. So select those, Alt and recalculate outside, so everything is good. Now we're going to start joining stuff together. We can take this and those and Control J. We can apply the mirror on this, apply it, apply the mirror on that, apply it. We can take those 2 and the bar, Control J. The only thing is this has a subdivision, and so I'm going to apply the subdivision, but I'm going to hide this. Come in and look. I don't really like this pattern, and so I'm going to, in one vertex selection, select this, Control plus to expand the selection, and go X vertices. And that will leave me with this circle, which is a little bit deformed, so I'm going to right click, choose Loop Tools, Circle. That'll fix it up, and then just go F to make a face. I actually prefer that. Double check, yeah. Alt H to bring those things back. We can now join these to this, Control J, and the bolts as well. Hold to this, Control J, and these to this, Control J. Now that we have the whole thing, you should go into edit mode, A to select it all, M, merge by distance, just in case. And you should also do a final check of the face orientation. Look from the front, and let's just pull this baby above the X. Shift C to move the 3D cursor back to the middle. And we have our thing right there. I'm going to turn off my screencast keys. And we're going to turn on the shadow, which will make it look even better. I'm going to switch this to both, and I'm going to, sometimes I'll yank that one up. Just going to pull these up. They don't have to go all the way. Doesn't matter. It just makes it look a little a little better. I'm going to switch to matte cap, and I'm going to choose, you may or may not have this one. I'm just going to choose that one because I like the looks of that, and I'm going to turn these off, and that's what we got. Now, the shading, I like the shading. It might be off a little bit, and so what you can always do is, it's one object right now. You come over to the modifiers and choose weighted normal, and normal's auto smooth. This is going to flatten it out a bit. I don't particularly like it in this case, but you know, if you can get used to that, the shading is actually better. So I'll leave it. Let's just have a quick look at statistics. Look, I said it was going to be around 12. It's around 11,000. Actually, I said vertices. It's half that in vertices. So it's only 5,000 vertices. All right. And that is our hatch. You can then, if you want, you can just quickly come over here and switch to object, and over here in the object properties, scroll down to viewport display, and as it's one object, you can just change that to, you know, something like that if you want, and then try different matte caps, like a shiny one, and you'll get that effect. Here, I'll do this. Okay, you can switch the color to something else, whatever you want to do, and you can of course try different matte caps for a different effect, and some of them might be a little bit dark and all that kind of stuff. But you can also change the outline too. You know, if you wanted to. I don't particularly like the matte cap idea, and I kind of want to go back to my, actually I do like the matte cap, but I want to go back to this one, and I don't, yeah, just like that. So if you want to get an outline around it, you can, and you could do a screenshot right there. I mean, I think it looks great. Or you could come up here and you can go view, viewport render, and you'll get something as well. It's not going to be as high quality as a real render, but I still think it looks quite nice. All right, so there's the submarine hatch. Hope I went at a reasonable speed for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and come on back for more. See you later.